So today we're talking about holiday meal planning, low carb or keto ideas. What does your family say when you show up with your low carb or keto dish to the holiday dinner?
Who, me? Well, I have to say, I'm not the cook in the family.
Oh, you don't bring like a salad or something? You're not like in charge of salad?
Well, I'm trying to think. So this actually, so Thanksgiving we did at Bo's house, and it was a pretty traditional Thanksgiving. There was not very much low carb anything except for the meat. Um, but no, actually, when I go to Corpus, because I'm coming from out of town, I usually don't. I get there.
You just have to arrive. Okay, no. See,
Yeah.
I can't think of a holiday that I didn't cook in the past 20 years.
Yeah. Well, but we never do it at my house. It's always like me driving, far to get there to go. And so it's always,
No, even if I go to someone's house, they would expect me to bring a pie or a turkey because they know I can make them.
Well, and usually I do. Yeah, we will take something like that. I'll take a dessert or a pie or something like that, but it's not low carb.
But you buy the dessert somewhere, you don't make the dessert.
Not typically,
no. Oh yeah. See, the reason I have to make my own desserts is because we're gluten-free and we actually make gluten-free desserts. So if I make a pecan pie, I don't, I use, yeah, it has to be gluten-free. And then also the sweet potato pie, I get a gluten-free crust and I make it gluten-free. And usually I used to have to make it dairy-free, depending on who was coming over.
Yeah.
So I had to use coconut milk in it. And I think that, yeah, it was good. I used coconut milk and on a gluten, and Whole Foods has a great pre-made pie crust that's gluten-free because we tried to make it on our own and it was not as good. But the Whole Foods makes a really good one. So by the time we did that, and I think
that's good. You probably are better at these things than I am. I'm just not much of a cook. So I keep things very simple. And
hey, at least you manage the soup because that's pretty good. That's actually good that you can make taco soup.
Oh, taco soup. Yeah, that's pretty easy though. It's not really baking. I'm not much into baking and stuff though. So the pies and cakes and stuff like that, I don't really do much with. But like tacos, I do a lot of. I'm more of a meat and veggies eater, I guess. So that's what I tend to cook all the time. But I don't really consider. I guess it's cooking, but it's not. I think of baking. I'm not really baking at all.
Yeah, I can only bake so many things. I can bake like a banana nut bread, a zucchini bread, pound cake, or like some sort of butter cake, a cheesecake, sweet potato pie, and the pecan pie. So there's 6 desserts that you can, like, if I cook it, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's going to be good. And then when I start making up new things, you're like, oh no, Tamyra invented a new thing. Right. Even my mother's like, if I've made it before, she's like, oh, okay, good. And if I haven't made it, she's like, are you sure? What recipe? What are you going to do to it this time? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Now, so one year, okay, this was years ago, we did Thanksgiving and we did a very low carb Thanksgiving. And it was interesting because we did like the green bean casserole. We used a lot of, I guess, a lot more. I'm trying to remember what we used. We did a really unique sweet potato with lime. There was no marshmallows at all. I mean, that's not really low carb sweet potatoes, but it was with lime. I can't remember the recipe, but it was actually really tasty. I've never been one for the real sweet potatoes anyways. And then we did the green bean casserole, but it wasn't like your traditional green bean casserole with all the breadcrumbs or anything like that in it. And what else did we do that year? We just tried to get creative, like trying to, make it as healthy as possible. Now, I really liked everything, but I can't say the people that we were bringing the food to liked everything.
Right. And I always warn people, I tell them I'm weird. So, some things you might not, but most people actually roll with it because, and mostly I think that by the time we make things gluten-free and dairy-free, it doesn't make it low carb or keto, but it takes some of the inflammation out of the food. And that's important, is to like not be like sick after dinner because you ate so much gluten and dairy.
Very, very true. That's a good point. Yeah, so I guess I tend to load up more on the meats. I'm more of a meat person though, which that's just my thing. I really enjoyed meat.
True.
The meals,
especially after I fry a turkey. I mean, we're about to go down on that.
Oh yeah, I bet that's really good. I've never had fried turkey.
Oh my God, we have to do one day. Sometimes
I've
when people
always
come
heard
in
it's
town,
good.
yeah, it's good. That's the only way my mother will eat it now, because all other turkey is dry.
It's too dry now.
I mean, even if it's not too dry, there's nothing juicier than a fried turkey because you marinate it. You inject it with stuff and then you let it sit for at least 12 to 24 hours. And then after you fry it, I mean, you've already put injected juice into it. And
So
so
what do you inject into it?
some people sell things over the counter like Tony Chachére's butter sauce or garlic butter herb seasoning. And at times I've made my own because sometimes you can't find the pre-made ones. And so I'll make, get apple cider vinegar and some actually Italian salad dressing injects very well if you can get all the bits out of it. So there's a lot of different ways you can, or hot sauce. I'm probably going to put a little bit of Tabasco in there because some people like spicy turkey. I put in like half of it. Like the right half is spicy and the left half is not.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a good. So how to do a low carb holiday menu that is an interesting, I kind of, one of the things with the holidays, and I was actually just talking to somebody I'm doing nutrition with, and we were talking about that. And so she was able to get below her, this 150 mark. And she's maintained that throughout the month of December so far, and on top of going to holiday parties and dinners and that kind of thing. And I just, my thing is there's a point that unless you're fighting cancer or something chronic, I don't know, maybe I'm a little too lenient with people, but I'm like, the holidays, enjoy your family and just control your portions. And as long as you're not like, well, as you say, you have a lot of people that can't have gluten. Now that's a big difference. Then you can have it and you're just not great with it. But just try to enjoy everything in moderation. That's always my big goal with people, because to try to deprive them of their holiday meal, I don't know. It kind of gets the psychology funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, like I want people to eat their holiday meal, but if you put on 5 pounds during the holidays, it's very hard. It takes a year to get that off. So I'm like, if you can.
That's why I said, I said the goal is to maintain, during the holidays, enjoy your family and small portions.
Yeah.
And enjoy, really taste it and enjoy it when you're going to eat it instead of just scarf it down.
Yeah. Or enjoy the food and limit the desserts, because a lot of people really go on like dessert craziness. And even what they drink, I think I have a slide here about what to drink. And like red wine, I'm like, make your own sangria, get some red wine, add some berries, and that would be a pretty low carb drink. But some people go and eat like a gallon of fruit punch, and that's worse than the food.
That is true.
Or even you get cranberry, people get that sliced cranberry stuff out of a can with high fructose corn syrup. Well, make your own.
Yeah, that's a good point. So I know which red wine has got the least amount of carbs. I was trying to remember, is it the Cabs or is it the Pinot?
They're all pretty low carb. Wines are very high, wines have like 2-3 grams of carbs. It's sangria that has a lot of carbs in it. Like if you add fresh fruit to your wine, that's fine. But if you add like fruit punch, well, then that's different.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, I tend to drink the drier one, 1 gram per 5 ounce pour. That's really not too bad, actually.
Right, because I like sweet wines. I've had to try to get myself off of Moscato, but
yeah, that's really sweet.
I know. Well, because actually during quarantine, when I kept doing the Prolon fasting mimicking diet, it kind of changed the amount of alcohol I can drink in general. For whatever reason, I can't. I mean, I never could drink a lot, but it made it work. Like I went down from like 2 to 1. I was like, I can't drink more than 1. I'm not handling this very well. And then I couldn't drink Moscato anymore because once I really stopped, eating a lot of sweets, I kind of lost my taste for that. So I used to like it, but now I'm like, I go for less sweet wines if I drink. Right.
Well, I have someone that she's doing, she and a friend of hers are doing the detox with me right now, and they have, and we were talking about that. And one of them, she's like, I just don't even want to drink. And I was like, okay. The challenge is she's going to events where people are going to be drinking. And not that there's social pressure, but there is something about being in a group of people and everybody's enjoying these frilly drinks and, and you want to feel like you're a part of it. So we were talking about like different ways and about doing, like using, like sparkling water, and just doing sparkling water and adding like a splash of cranberry juice to it or something to make it look red, or just little things like that. So you're still feeling like you're being festive, and getting some bubbles, but you're not getting the alcohol or the sugar. And then, of course, the next thing up would be, like you said, try to stick to the low sugar content wines.
Yeah.
Or what, as far as alcohol, a lot of times, like, just basically sparkling water with like a vodka. I always tell people to try to focus on the clear alcohols if they're going to do liquor.
Right.
And add a little lime or lemon to it, a splash of a juice versus like half of the thing is juice, right?
Right.
So,
and I usually tell them to add essential oils, because let's say you make like vodka and orange juice, you can put a tiny bit of orange juice, but if you add a splash of orange vitality to it, you've got a lot more orange, and you don't miss that orange juice, and you haven't added any calories. You can add flavor, but not calories. You could add a splash of grapefruit, or add a splash of lime to your.
I wonder if somebody's come up with that. It's almost like a recipe, like a low carb recipe guide, for drinks, for holiday drinks.
I did. It's in my computer. I wrote it. I've never let it out of my computer, but I've written like about how like alcohol in the past used to be medicinal. I mean, they first invented all these things. They actually had a the tonic and gin is like
all the essentials in the
gin. Yep. So exactly. So they used to, and then once everybody got drunk off of it and didn't work, they decided to change the categorization of it. But originally, even Dr. Pepper, that was medicinal. 7-Up. I mean, there's a lot of things that were medicinal at one point, and then we junked them up. But I do tell people, I'm like, when you drink, go for the keto drinks, low carb, and if you do that during the holidays, it's better than the fruit punch and whatever you came up with. Right. Usually, and that could take a lot of that.
The eggnog, oh my goodness!
Right.
Somebody was drinking eggnog at a Christmas party recently. I was like watching them drink it. I'm like, that looks like it's so thick. It's almost like you're drinking a milkshake. So I can't imagine. I've never been a fan of eggnog, but
no.
Just watching them drink that, I'm like, it's got to be like, there's so much sugar and fat in that, and then the alcohol on top of that. That can't be good for anybody.
No, and
people enjoy it.
Even if I drink it, I'd have to dilute it because it is too sweet and too thick. I'd have to like add milk to it or something. I'm like, no. So eggnog is a good thing to flavor things with, but not really. I can't drink it.
Yeah, that's definitely not a drink that. I don't think you could even really maintain your weight very well drinking too many eggnogs.
No.
So, yeah, that's funny. A skinny cocktail recipe guide or something. That's what I need to.
I have written it, but I haven't published it. But they're like I said, by the time you add lime, grapefruit, or orange vitality to your drink, you put a lot of flavor in it without having to put any sugar in it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I just don't drink very much, so it's. I mean, have you tried all the recipes? Or you
I tried them all.
Did you really? That would be a good quarantine thing to do.
Yes, right? That's exactly what it was. A good quarantine thing to do.
You know what? That's funny.
Now, what about working out during the holidays? I think a lot of people slack off because they're vacationing.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Now, I haven't. Like today when I went to my water aerobics class, like it was half of the number of people there. And I'm like, that's where they're messing because they go on vacation. But I was like, oh no. Like even when I go on vacation, I go walking every day. I actually I make sure I get my 10,000 steps in. I'm like, there's no way I'm not gonna, and that really helps with the weight, is like keeping your activity up.
Just keep your activity up too. And I think, parking at the edge of the parking lot, all those little tricks that, little things that add up over time, I think is really important. Climbing the stairs instead of using the elevator. I think those are just the things we kind of get a little bit lazy, or we feel like we're in a hurry, we don't have time.
Right.
But yeah. That's a good point. So if you're not able to exercise, what could you do? I'm a big, using your chair to just do some squats using the chair.
Yeah, but
I tell all my office folks that it's like, you know what? Every couple of hours, set a timer, do 10 squats on your chair. Just like stand up, sit down, literally. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Something.
But I think even lowering stress during the holidays, like maybe meditation, you can always go on YouTube and get a meditation video at night, and in the morning do a 20-minute workout. I mean, it doesn't have to be, you might not have an hour to work out, but you've got to have at least 20 or 30 minutes and be consistent, because like I said, that those little, because you're going to eat 200 more calories per day during the holidays, and you have to at least burn 200 more calories per day. So you have to fit in a workout.
Well, that, and also adding fasting to it. I went to a dinner last Monday, and I pretty much did my fasting all day.
Right.
I didn't eat anything during the day, and I just, had my meal that night. So I kind of let my body just rest all day. And I was able to, and not that I've splurged that much, but I definitely splurged more than I normally do. I think that's a really powerful thing to kind of do as well, if you're able to. I know some people have a hard time fasting throughout the day, but that's another way to kind of keep your calories in check if you're going to be going to parties and stuff. So
yeah. Was it like a drug rep dinner or something?
I don't know. It was one of my women's groups. We just do an
Oh.
annual like white elephant Christmas gift exchange type thing.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we went to this Italian restaurant, and I did pretty well. I ate pretty well for the most part, but they had ordered a few just appetizers that I wanted to try a little bite of each thing type of thing. And then I did have some red wine, and I had a little piece of tiramisu afterwards. So that was my splurge, I guess. But for the most part, I had vegetables. I had veal and vegetables, so it was pretty good. But at the same time, you're eating out, so the portion sizes are always bigger. The salt content's always more. The it's never as healthy as you would make it at home.
Right.
So yeah. I mean, it's just lots of little holiday things. I know another girl had something at her house, and everybody was like a potluck type of thing. And it's like it's kind of hard to eat those things because everybody brings not necessarily, but somebody brought this cucumber salad, which was really good, really good. And I took a vegetable tray, and I take a vegetable tray and some hummus and stuff like that. So that was actually, so I tried to focus on that, but it's like, I was like, we have no meat. It was kind of funny. There's not much protein there.
Right. Now,
lots of carbohydrates though.
Yeah. Once I went to someone's potluck, and, everybody had to bring something, and I brought a kale salad, and like nobody knew what it was. They were like, what's a kale salad? I'm like, okay. Once they ate it, they were like, oh, it's okay. Everybody come eat it. But at first they were like, what is this weird lettuce this chick brought?
That is funny. Did you bring rabbit?
Yep.
So, yeah. It's different depending on where you go. And, I don't know. I know people that are like so over the top, like, disciplined with things. They carry their coolers to their families for the holidays to make sure they're maintaining their eating plans and stuff. And which I think is, very cool if they're able to do that. But the majority of people, I mean, that's a big thing to do that. I almost wonder if people look at you a little funny if you're showing up to their house for dinner, bringing your own food.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
if you're doing that,
your food, it's not good enough.
Yeah. No, if you're doing that, they're probably accustomed to you doing that. Even people with me, they're always like, oh, you probably don't eat this and you don't eat that. And I'm like, look, when I'm at my house making my own food, I have control over it. I can use my gluten-free flour. I probably have 20 kinds of gluten-free flour. Every time I see a new one, I bring it home. It's like, I know how to make everything dairy-free, but that's me at my house. When I leave my house, I find it painful to have to like do anything different than just eat. It's just like, oh, there's food, I'm gonna eat it. I just will pick and choose. Like if there's 2 desserts and I think one is like it, I don't eat chocolate, so it's easy for me to just like leave the stuff that has chocolate in it by itself.
Yeah, see that I'm just the opposite. I my thing is, if it's not chocolate, why waste my calories?
Right. See, most people are like that. No, I like butter. So if there's like 5 sticks of butter in the dessert, I'm gonna eat it.
Yeah.
I want butter, but I do not want chocolate.
I know Bo doesn't really care for chocolate. So he likes like a white cake with white frosting, that type of thing. And I'm like,
that would be me. So I guess your wedding's gonna have 2 different types, a white cake and a chocolate cake.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I never seen a chocolate wedding cake. Wedding cakes are always white.
They're always white, right? Mm-hmm. That's true.
But the groom's cake could be whatever it wants to be, but the wedding cake is always a big triumph.
I've been, the groom's cake is usually chocolate.
Right. So that's how it's gonna have to be. The cake, he's gonna like the wedding cake and you're gonna like the other cake.
Yeah, so you kind of just get the best of both, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's funny.
But that would be interesting to have a chocolate wedding cake. You could totally do that, but that is different.
I'm sure, and especially with all the different types of icings, the fondant.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do all kinds of colors and things with that. So yeah, that's kind of wild. I've never really been a big fan of a lot of those cakes though. Usually the icing is like, it looks really pretty, but it doesn't taste as good as it looks.
You mean wedding cake?
with that thick icing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm an icing person, but I don't like fondant. I like more of like a buttercream frosting.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they use fondant so it won't melt, or I don't know the deal.
Well, they can really make really ornate designs on the cake, I think, with it compared to the other types of icing.
Yeah, but I don't like the way it tastes. I like a lighter, whippier frosting. That's me.
Right. Yeah.
And like I said, I have a butter craving, so anything that's buttercream is my friend.
Butter, huh?
Butter. Butter, yes. Chocolate, no.
But you don't like chocolate. That is really interesting.
Do not. Since I was a child, my mother loves chocolate, and I'd be like, "Here you go."
See, that's
No
it's funny. I kept chocolate from work as long as I could. And then I remember they used to, I haven't been over there in a while, but at the Whole Foods that was by my house, my old house, they had this little chocolate, it was a chocolate mousse cup. And it was like they would make it fresh like every day or two. And so it was this little cup and it was so good. And I'd get that. I remember I was eating some and I gave him a little bite and he was just like, his little eyes got so big. He's like, more.
See, you should,
I was like, man, I was thinking that I was like going to, keep him from having my chocolate addiction. And I guess he just has it.
Yeah. I mean, most people naturally have a chocolate addiction. It's just, since, like I said, I later found out it was one of my food intolerances. And so that must be, I would eat it when I was young and be like, I didn't love that like everyone else. And then I would eat vanilla, like when they, those ice creams that were like 3 different flavors, like vanilla, strawberry, chocolate. I would always eat the vanilla and then the strawberry, and I would leave the part of the strawberry that was connected to the chocolate because I didn't want to accidentally eat chocolate.
That's so funny.
My mother was like,
I was just the opposite. I'm like, it's got to be chocolate. I don't want the rest of that mess.
My mother used to look at me and be like, what's wrong with you? Why are you peeling the chocolate chips out of the chocolate chip cookie? I'm like, because I want the cookie and the nuts, but I don't want the chocolate.
That's funny. Yeah, I think kids too. They know what's good for them sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, I say that, of course. If we let kids just eat whatever they wanted, they probably cookies and ice cream all day too. But some of the things that they don't like, I think the like strong aversions to, I kind of wonder if they have some kind of intolerance to that their gut has a reaction to as well.
Right. It's inflammatory. So yeah. And like I said, it didn't do anything horrible, terrible to me. It's just somehow I just, and what, also I have this weird gene, like where stevia tastes bitter to me, and chocolate also has a taste to me that's not like what everybody else likes. You know what I mean? I find it more bitter than everyone else thinks it is.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. Yeah. Well, and you don't like the bitter, like the coffees and bitter teas and stuff.
No bitter coffee, no bitter tea, no bitter stevia, and no bitter wine. I was like, give me sweets. They have to give me a certain amount of sugar to hide it.
There you go.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay, so low carb holiday menu. I don't, that's a really interesting thing. What would you, so I would say, stick with a really good meat. Obviously the turkey's going to be low carb, or prime rib, or any kind of meat is going to be low carb.
Or get 2 meats so that everybody has like more choices.
Has more what?
Choices. Like if you do turkey and a brisket or turkey and a ham, then there's more meat on the plate than carb stuff.
Right. And I think that, the sweet potato, obviously that's carbs, but it's not that bad. Like breads or pastas, right?
No, it's the sugar they put in the sweet potatoes that's the problem. But if you just had a sweet potato and, like I said, did your lime recipe with the sweet potato, that would be good.
That was so good. And I don't remember. I need to find that old recipe, but it was really, I liked it. But again, I'm not a big sweet person either. I like the bitter stuff. So it's funny how everybody's a little different.
Because some people have a gene that makes them crave sugar, and I have a gene that makes me crave lime, cilantro, sweet potatoes. It wasn't lime and cilantro, was it?
That sounds really good, actually. It might happen.
Yeah. This one said sweet potatoes, extra virgin olive oil, salt, cayenne, and fresh lime zest, and fresh lime juice, and fresh cilantro. And that's how it goes. I know.
It was probably something like that. So let's see. I'm going to look through this gluten-free blueberry muffins. Now that would be good.
I know, because there's certain desserts.
Pancakes.
See, there's so many things that one could make that are like yummy. But cilantro, lime sweet potatoes would be like a very different calorie count than, I mean, we put brown sugar and pineapples in our sweet potatoes, so therefore that is not,
yeah,
no.
not exactly.
We candy them, candied yams. And I never put marshmallows on them, but.
Ooh, summer squash soup. Oh, that's not summer.
Ooh, listen, this one is a chili lime sweet potato gratin with goat cheese. That sounds good.
That sounds pretty good too.
I know.
Yeah. Let's see what else is on here. Creamy broccoli soup. Now I do like broccoli soup. That's always pretty good, but it's usually pretty thick. So this one's going to be a little bit less because it's got doesn't have all the thick.
So let me look up
the cream in it.
Low carb green bean casserole because you said that. Low carb.
Skimming through this pumpkin soup. Oh, that would be interesting. So a pumpkin pie, have pumpkin soup.
Oh, I love pumpkin soup. I've had it before.
Huh. Now that would be kind of a cool little switcheroo, something different.
Yeah, that sounds good. So I found a green bean casserole, but it has heavy cream and cream cheese.
Okay. Yeah, so that makes it pretty heavy too, but it's
but it was low carb. It was low carb because of it. Mm-hmm. Then I found one almond flour. Oh yeah, this one's good. This has coconut cream in it. So this one has green beans, ghee, small onion, garlic, mushrooms, sea salt, black pepper, almond flour, low sodium chicken broth, almond milk, coconut cream or heavy cream, mozzarella cheese, Parmesan crisps, and bacon. That one sounds good.
That sounds pretty good too.
That sounds really good.
Gluten-free veggie meatloaf.
Okay, now do you ever bring veggie a veggie meatloaf? People like if you brought some tofurkey and a veggie meatloaf, I think you would not be invited.
It's just gluten-free.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that would be. I couldn't do that. I like my real meat.
I know.
I'm not a tofurkey person or a.
Now I could do
meat, whatever they're calling all that stuff. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's okay, but to me, I wonder how processed that stuff really is. Is it really better for you just because it doesn't have meat in it? I don't know.
I know. Even though I do like Impossible meat, so every once in a while, if I'm on my week-long diet, not trying to eat meat, I'll be like, oh, I could do this because then I won't realize I haven't eaten meat.
Yeah, well, that's a little different, though, I think. Yeah. But no, I would not do that. But I do like the gluten-free because a lot of times the meatloaf will have all of the the breadcrumbs in it.
Right. So. Oh yeah, because we usually chop up the gluten-free bread and use that as our breadcrumbs, or I do have gluten-free breadcrumbs already. So like I said, my whole house is full of gluten-free stuff. But yeah, this green bean casserole with no gluten in it sounds good.
This has got a lot of extra veggies added to it, so it's pretty good too. Interesting, giving me some new ideas.
See,
but, I know we were just talking about our menu for Saturday, like what they wanted to eat or what I don't know. And I was just telling her to keep it simple, like a roast or something would be good.
She's not making a turkey?
No, we're going to my mom in Corpus or Mathis, I should say. No turkey this year. No turkey this year, I guess.
Green bean and hamburger casserole. I never heard of it and it doesn't look very good.
It doesn't sound very good.
I mean, it sounds good, but then when you look at the picture, I was like, no, I'm going to go back to green chicken enchilada cauliflower casserole. Ooh, cauliflower. Do you ever eat cauliflower for the holidays?
I like cauliflower.
Like instead of mashed potatoes, people could do cauliflower mashed potatoes.
That sounds pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. That's a really good idea. No, I really like the cauliflower crust on the pizza and stuff like that. It's so good. Spinach.
I cannot say.
I don't know. I'm not very good at this, low carb holiday menus, apparently.
You're not good at it.
I'm like, I have to say, in the last couple patients people I've talked to with this detoxes recently, that was the thing. It's like, well, you know what? Don't deprive yourself. enjoy it because there's such a, it's such a family time, and there's a bonding thing that happens when people eat together. And there's a lot of memories with food sometimes, especially around the holidays. The key is to eat it and be very conscious of what you're eating and taste it and actually really feel it and experience it in your mouth and get all the texture in and all of those things versus just eating mindlessly, and watch your portions. But I think if you're gluten-free, that's a totally different scenario.
And it takes a few calories out. Like since I've been doing kind of gluten-free holidays, I don't put as much weight on, but like I said, I think a lot of it's just the inflammation. And it probably takes a few carbs out. I mean, if I use almond flour instead of regular flour, that's keto. I mean, it's
right.
The whole meal isn't keto, but at least, I've taken a few calories out here and there. When I eat the same amount of food, it's not as many calories. And so it's just easier.
Yeah.
Because I know that once I put weight on, it's so hard to get it off.
That's a good point.
You could put bacon in the cauliflower mashed potatoes.
See, that sounds pretty good. How, is there a recipe for that somewhere?
Yeah, I've got it on here. Bacon cauliflower mashed potatoes. Hold on. And there wasn't very many, let me think. In this cauliflower mashed potatoes recipe, it's cauliflower, unsalted butter, garlic, cream cheese, Parmesan cheese, and salt and pepper.
Sounds pretty good.
That was just creamy cauliflower mash, which sounds yummy. But the bacon cauliflower mashed potatoes would be good.
Just add a little bit of bacon to it, not a lot, just enough to give it the flavor.
Yep. Okay, here's loaded mashed cauliflower with cheddar and bacon. See, then people would eat your food.
It's interesting. I wonder if you take that and just don't tell them it's cauliflower and let them taste it and see what people say.
I do it all the time. Most of the time, they don't know.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Let's see. Let's see if there's anything else in here that looks good. This recipe guide that I have.
Yeah, but even if you just took 3 or 4 of your dishes, if you changed your punch into like a wine with berries, then you changed your sweet potatoes into the lime sweet potatoes, you change your mashed potatoes into the cauliflower mashed potatoes. If you just change some of the side dishes and then changed your green bean casserole, I mean, it wouldn't be bad. It would just be, you've taken a lot of things out, and then everything else you do isn't so bad because you've just gotten rid of a lot of calories just by altering some ingredients.
Very true, very true. That makes it a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't, I mean, I think you just have to start being creative with things, I think.
Yep.
If you're really committed to, and like you said, a lot of people won't even notice. A lot of people won't even notice. I think with my lime sweet potatoes, they notice because
I know, but they like them. They notice, but they like them. So let me see. Holiday meals at HEB.
Squash, that sounds pretty good too.
Oh yeah. So holiday meals at HEB. So let me see if you ordered from HEB, what they would have that you could just order. So let's see. They have a turkey. Then you get 3 sides. Oh, the other big thing that people do is the bread. They always have rolls and bread with everything, and that would be difficult.
And that'll kind of mess you up every time,
I know, it's just the bread. It's like, instead of the bread, pick the dessert, because they're going to be very similar calories, but now you're doing both.
I had to sneeze. Our weather is changing again, I think.
I know, it's been torturing me because I think things keep blooming, and then I'm like,
I know, my little rose bushes are blooming in the front yard. I'm like, oh, that's so cute. I was like, I can't believe they're blooming in December. But anyways, it's been so cold. I mean, so hot. It's been so hot that they just think it's summertime, I guess. So it's funny.
So let me see. Prepared holiday meals from Whole Foods. I'm trying to think if you could just order a healthy meal.
See, now that's a good idea. I think there's a lot of the grocery stores and a lot of places, restaurants too, that you can order the food and they'll actually just prepare everything, which that is kind of my style.
Right.
Just show up and eat or have everything kind of done. Because it is a lot of work to cook all those meals. Just like you said, you start a day before cooking.
Yep.
And you're cooking almost all day for 2 straight days for one meal. It's a lot of work. You really have to enjoy cooking to do that, I think. And
oh, so at Whole Foods they have an ancient grain pilaf, prime rib, and browsing all their stuff. Like if I wanted to have a totally nice holiday meal, lamb shank meal, holiday feast for 12.
That sounds pretty good.
Stuffed mushrooms.
Yeah, I think Whole Foods, what is the other place? HE, it's not HEB. They've got that big store down in the city.
Phoenicia?
Like
Phoenicia?
No, it's an HEB store, but it's not called HEB. It's one of their flagship type stores.
Mm.
But they would do the full gamut of, Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner or whatever. So you pre-order everything, and it's kind of a neat little deal. So, warm beet salad. Ooh, that sounds actually pretty good.
Nobody's gonna want my warmed beet salad, but it does sound good. It sounds healthy.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to try this though. This looks pretty
good. Ooh, they have a paleo friendly turkey meal for 4.
There you go. See, this is where it ate Whole Foods.
This is Whole Foods.
Okay. What is on their keto friendly menu for 4?
Let me see. Paleo friendly turkey meal for. Let me see if they'll let me see it since it's sold out online. Okay, here we go. Oh, yes, girl. So salt and pepper roasted turkey breast.
Okay.
Roasted garlic mashed cauliflower.
There you go.
Roasted mushrooms with spinach and bacon.
Well, that sounds good too.
Roasted harvest vegetables.
Good.
Beef bone broth gravy. And home-style applesauce.
See, all of that sounds really tasty.
It does, and it's paleo, and it's only $90 for 4 people.
I could totally eat that. That actually sounds really good.
Right? This is what I'm like. And it's, so like people can have a low carb. They don't have any dessert on this menu, so that's the one problem. But
they don't have dessert. Yeah.
There was no dessert except for the applesauce, I guess.
Yeah, and I think too, it's funny because for so many years when we were kids, we had this. It was almost like an expectation that Thanksgiving has to look a certain way, or Christmas has to look a certain way as far as the food is concerned. And I think it's interesting. Once my grandfather passed away, and he was the one that kind of always took the lead on that. It was so much work, but he was retired, and so he would spend like days up until till the day planning things and cooking things and getting things prepared and ready, right? And so of course we're all working and running around like chickens all the time, and so it's interesting because it shifted our idea of what it had to look like. And so now I don't have any like specific way it needs to be. I kind of, but that sounds really good.
Yeah, but the other problem is you have so many leftovers that you want to make it healthy in the first place, so you don't on 3 or 4 days in a row eat all this fattening food if you can make it like decent from the beginning. So they have coconut sweet potato casserole.
Coconut sweet potato casserole.
I know, you're like, those 3 things did not go together in a sentence. What is up with that?
Well, I guess it's not going to have all the sugar, but it's still going to have some of that flavor.
Right?
Versus the sweet marshmallows and the sugar, all the, yeah. Usually there's a lot of butter in sweet potato casserole too, isn't there?
I like butter. So here's, this one I found. Coconut sweet potato casserole with pecan topping. It still had milk and brown sugar in it, so maybe not. Okay, here's a coconut sweet potato casserole. Coconut oil, salt, pepper, coconut cream, honey, and organic coconut flakes.
So it's using honey. Oh, that sounds pretty good too.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess they have to put something sweet in it, but Yeah, they're all, they could have put cinnamon in it instead of honey. I don't know. But that's interesting. I never thought about a coconut sweet potato casserole.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I haven't either. That's interesting.
And I saw that in their vegan meal for two. And then they have pumpkin curry soup. That's interesting.
That sounds pretty good.
But there's no meat, so that's the end of that.
But that's giving you your pumpkin taste without the pumpkin pie.
True.
Sugar and all that. You're still getting the pumpkin without the.
And pumpkin pie is still vegan, so I don't know why they didn't let the vegans have any dessert. Or maybe they just expect you to go and order your dessert separately. And they don't put it in these meals. Yeah, the desserts are separate.
But that is I says vegan dessert. I guess most desserts are very
Oh, they're not vegan because they put milk in them. So if you want a vegan pumpkin, like I make a vegan pumpkin pie because I use coconut cream instead of regular cream, but most of them have cream in them.
Gotcha.
Now the pecan pie would be vegan because they don't put anything in there. It's not. Ooh, pumpkin butter chai cake. That sounds good. Also sounds like something I cannot make.
What flavor is chai? How would
you describe
chai?
Chai is a blend of cinnamon, cardamom, nutmeg, black pepper. At minimum, those four things. Maybe it'll have fennel in it, but it's a blend of all these different foreign things. Like I made my own little chai blend out of essential oils using cinnamon, cardamom, nutmeg, and black pepper.
Gotcha.
I love chai.
Trying to figure out how to explain like that flavor.
Yes, because it's very. That's like one of my favorite teas is chai tea.
Chai.
You put chai tea in your coffee, and they call it dirty chai. But yeah, vegan pumpkin pie.
What else? Well, so a lot of the pies, they just have a lot of sugar in them. That's the main thing. And the crust is always so thick and heavy.
Yeah, but the gluten-free crust is flaky and not that heavy. Like I said, only from Whole Foods.
So it's not necessarily low carb, though, right?
If they make it out of almond flour, it's lower carb. It's not no carb, it's low carb. Because of the types of flour they use. If it's made out of corn flour, no, but if it's made out of almond flour, it helps.
Or you could see that, let's see, that's a lot of sugar. I'm trying to think of like dessert. Like what could you recommend for dessert that is really low sugar, low carb?
Okay, let me look up keto desserts.
That would be kind of challenging.
I mean, because I've had keto ice cream, I cannot say that I love it.
Yeah.
18.
Well, and so the other challenge with a lot of the desserts is they use so many artificial sugars to get the sugar content.
Yeah, like monk fruit, which of course tastes funny to me. That's the problem. So basically, they take the basic dessert and then instead of putting sugar, they use stevia or monk fruit or Splenda. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I've noticed just in looking at all these different protein shakes, drinks, and there's so many that use artificial sugars in the drinks, because I try to make it taste a certain way. It's just unfortunate because I don't know. I think it ruins the whole shake, the whole product to me. But
flourless keto brownies. You can make black bean brownies.
Now that's interesting. Now I've heard of avocado brownies too. Is it avocado that they've used?
Could be. I've made black bean brownies and they're actually pretty good.
I never did that one, but.
Let me see what they're doing when they're sugar-free, low carb. But yeah, black bean brownies are actually pretty good. But I think even black beans would be, they're not really keto because they do have carbs.
Exactly. Yeah, there was one that I saw was like a really, really looked at avocado brownies. It's got the coconut sugar and brown sugar. So it's not really low carb, but it's still got all the sugar and stuff in it. So I don't know how to do that.
Oh, with the monk fruit, you got to use monk fruit or stevia. So this recipe is using psyllium husk powder. So basically, it's a Metamucil brownie with
Oh
monk
my
fruit in it.
gosh.
I know.
Wow. That's hilarious.
Right. I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna just have a regular dessert at this point.
Well, and I guess if the majority of your menu is low carb. Okay, here's a flourless and veggie, gluten-free, dairy-free, with a fudgy texture avocado brownie recipe. Let's see what's in this one. They use avocado instead of oil or butter. And let's see. See what's in this one. Pretty fudgy. It's like really good. It looks like okay, coconut sugar, not too bad. Almond butter, it's not too bad. They've swapped the sugar for the low glycemic coconut sugar. Place the butter with avocado, omitted the flour in place of almond butter. Yeah, this looks like a pretty good recipe. It's got 5 stars too.
From
It
the,
needs the avocado.
is it on detoxinista.com? Is that the one you looked up?
Yep, that's where, I just saw it.
Yep. I have never made that before.
That one actually looks like a pretty interesting one. I'm gonna have to try that.
Yep.
And of course, the reviews are really good on this one.
I'm a nutrition.
Yeah, it's just a matter of, you really have to plan things. And I think, oh, that's funny. It says huge hit. Even my picky family members love them. My favorite part was after the entire batch was gone, telling them that they had avocado in them, and no one believed me. That's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think if I fed somebody cauliflower mashed potatoes and an avocado brownie, they'd be like, you have won the crunchy award of the holidays.
Yeah.
The crunchy holiday award.
This is tempting. I actually might have to make, because my family is a family of chocoholics. Somehow, I don't know. I guess it's a genetic thing.
Most people do like chocolate. I mean, I'd say that my aversion to chocolate is incredibly rare. People look at me like I'm crazy. Even my mother was like, "What is wrong with my child that she won't eat chocolate?"
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, and it wasn't until I was,
I might try these and make them and just see what everybody thinks of them. So I think that, I honestly, I think they'd be open to trying them. So worst case,
don't tell them.
I don't like them.
Just
and then, That's so funny. But maybe that'll be a project for work and I this week.
Yep. So you don't bake, but you can make brownies.
I'm sorry?
I said you don't normally bake things, but you can make brownies. That's the one thing.
Well, I don't normally bake, but I was just thinking of avocado brownies. That's actually pretty good for dessert.
But you've made them before, or you just heard of them?
No, I've never made them. I've just heard of them. So, but they look pretty good, and it's it's fairly, fairly simple recipe. So, yeah. I don't really enjoy. I try to do things like that with work though, because he does enjoy doing, like we have. I bought him this. I guess we're Hobby Lobby or something, and he likes nutcrackers. And they had some nutcracker, just the wood that are not painted yet. So I bought him that with some paint, just trying to find things for him to do over the holidays. Well, because I have to work. So the little bit of time I get to hang out with him, trying to find things to do besides nothing, So that's all.
Right. And it's good for him to know how to cook. Like as a guy, he shouldn't be afraid of cooking. He should be able to make simple things.
Oh yeah. He does. He helped me do the taco soup just now. He enjoyed that. He likes helping me with stuff like that. So, but he has learned that mom cooks pretty simply though. So there's, if it's not simple, we don't do it. Now we did, for his Cub Scouts, they have a cake bake. I think I told you about that, didn't I?
Maybe.
Did I tell you about that? They do a cake bake, and we just bought cheap box cakes because they don't eat it. You design it into something, and then they, there's a competition on who's got the tallest, the longest, the most, theme related, the most scout related, just different things, right? And so we baked cakes that night. It's not that I can't. It's just not my favorite thing to do because I'm not a big cake eater.
Right.
So I don't eat a lot of baked food, so I don't really make a lot of baked foods. But
so when you were a kid, your mom didn't make you. Yeah. When you were a kid, your mom didn't make you cook.
No, I definitely. My thing was dinner. I pretty much had to cook. Once I got to a certain age, I was cooking dinner almost every night because mom would be, coming in from work, and dad would want me to get dinner started so we could eat when everybody got home. But it was mostly, we did mostly meat and vegetables and like meat, potatoes, vegetables type of thing. It was always something on those lines. So that's what I typically cook. It's always been pretty simple. Never anything extravagant or I don't know. That's just what I always cooked. Kept it really simple. But
Yeah, that's good. No, my mother was very simple, and and my grandmother, could really cook. She was like a great soul food cook. So I'd be like, grandma's food tastes so much better. She's like, well, you better learn how to cook like grandma. So I used to go and try to learn how to season stuff and pan fry, So I learned how to cook just because my mother really didn't care about it. And I was like, but I want my food to be better.
that's funny.
So I shall learn how to cook now. And I really don't cook. I play in the kitchen. I like to play. As long as I don't have to clean up, do the dishes afterwards, my mother's like, do you use every dish every time you cook? And I'm like, maybe. Because I do.
That is pretty funny. Well, I know, yeah, we would go with my grandmother's. I mean, she would bake with it. We would bake with her a lot. But she ended up getting Alzheimer's when I was, probably, oh gosh, how old was I when she first started having her Alzheimer's symptoms? Probably 10 or 11. So we didn't have a lot of years, of baking and stuff with her as much. So that's the only thing.
Because
she started developing Alzheimer's, and they had to be real careful with her in the kitchen and with different things because, turn on burners, leave them on, forget about them.
Right.
Just all of those things. So yeah, a lot of those things started changing pretty early. But I do remember when I was very young, though, we did a lot of baking with my grandmother. So, yeah, I'm trying to think back. So, anyways, well, so yeah, I guess the key for people is to just look for a little healthier option than what you've already got.
Right. Exactly. Like, find a couple of ways to change a few things. Maybe we should have called it low inflammatory eating for the holidays, like just find ways to decrease the inflammation in your foods, and maybe you'll save yourself a couple of pounds.
Right. And I think the goal is to really maintain your weight during the holidays.
Oh yeah. No, because between holidays, I kind of dieted. I was really good in between. So all the Thanksgiving weight I took off. So now Christmas is about to happen, and I'll put it back on. But at least at the end of all the holidays, I won't be a different weight than I was in October. Right. In January, I'll be the same weight I was in October, even though in between I fluctuated.
Right. So are you doing anything for the new year as far as?
Oh yeah.
I've been really wanting to launch a detox, like start the new year off with and doing like a group detox program. So I've been working on that.
Yeah.
Just because I think that's always a good time. Everybody seems to be open to doing something like that at the beginning of the year.
Right.
So I think I'm going to be doing that at the beginning of the year.
I thought about it. I always think about it and I never do it. No. A lot of people do like the Daniel fast, or that's all I think. A lot of people do the Daniel fast. They're usually doing it with their church. It's like they're doing it with their church. It's usually it's a vegetarian diet, basically.
Okay.
It's like paleo vegetarian.
Okay.
Almost exactly what it is. It's like a vegan paleo. It's a partial fast. You can't have any meat, wine, or other rich foods. You can only have vegetables and water for 3 weeks.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's actually pretty good.
But some of them do it for like 40 days. And I think somewhere in the Bible, Daniel was, and the people, his disciples, were permitted to eat vegetables and water.
Okay.
To avoid the Babylonian king's food and wine. And then they remain healthy.
Last year, I did a 3-day water fast at the beginning of the year. So.
Oh, you ate one meal a day, or you ate nothing but water?
No, I just did water for 3 days. I did water for 3 days, and I was doing my sauna and really I mean, I felt amazing after that. I was like, I couldn't believe how much energy I had, and it was pretty awesome. So maybe I'll do that at the beginning of this year too. We'll see.
Water fast.
We'll
No.
see.
No, the only time I do that is actually when like if I'm sick, I'll do a water fast for 3 days just because I can't eat. The only time you'll ever get me to do that. I literally have to be sick in order to not eat.
Yeah.
And even then I'll do broth. Like I can see doing a 3-day bone broth
Bone
or
broth,
3
that would be
days
good.
of something like that. But or even master cleanse. I lasted 1 day on the master cleanse. I'm just not good at it.
Yeah, I've never done the master cleanse.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the
the
cayenne pepper water stuff.
yeah, the cayenne pepper water.
That's the only thing I could think of when I think about the
Yeah, it
master
is.
cleanse.
It's lemon, cayenne pepper, and water,
Mhm.
and maple syrups in it just to keep you from being hungry.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, 1 day I think I put too much cayenne pepper in it and I was ruined. I was like, I'm not drinking this. Next.
That's funny. I've never done that. I've done straight water. I've done, bone broths. I've done, intermittent fasting. I do all the time anyways.
Right.
My detox that I love, I do that. And it just depends and varies. But it's not always at the beginning of the year. I don't know why last year I decided to do it at the beginning of the year. I think because of the way the days fell. But New Year's was on a Friday last year, right? And so it was like, I think that's right.
Maybe.
It was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to do a 3-day water fast. And I didn't really have many plans that weekend. And work was on his vacation. We'd already traveled and done our thing. And, couldn't really go many other places. It was still, wasn't going to get on a plane and go anywhere really. So we'd already seen all the family and done that. So yeah, I think that's why it just worked out to do it that time. But anyways.
Well, that's good. But yeah, no, I don't know. I guess I could do the Daniel fast for 3 weeks, but I don't know that I will.
Yeah.
But people who do it love it. They always lose weight. Always.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine.
And they can have beans too. Basically, it's just
it's
fruits, vegetables, beans.
Eating lots of veggies. That's what everybody needs to do more of, anyways, right?
Yeah, the liquids they can have are like water, coconut milk, almond milk. So you can have more than just water, but nuts and seeds, whole grains.
Yep. So it's just sounds like a really healthy way to do it.
Yeah, basically it's a vegan cleanse. They just call it the Daniel diet. But yeah, like I said, that I could do for 3 weeks.